This is the opposite side of the river. Pretty good sized river. I don't know how it compares to the Mississippi, but it looks every bit as big. There, on the opposite side of Lisbon, is the Christ the Redeemer statue. If you remember back to Rio, this is like the matching statue. They have the same thing there at the top of one of the big hills. And then there's something of a suspension bridge, kind of a golden gate. And then once you pass through that, you wind up with Lisbon, which would be here on the left. And it's a very bright morning, so I'm not sure how easy it is to see things right now. But, it is quite a place. And this, once you get to the other side of it, is the city proper. The big square, which everyone visits, but doesn't always see from this side. And then the hillier part where you'll need streetcars and stuff. It's just a beautiful city to visit. Whether you do the hop on, hop off, or just walk around, it's a really extraordinary place. This is where a lot of explorers would have taken off to the parts of the world we just came from. It's not always easy to see the city from this vantage point, because just like we're about to do, there are a bunch of cruise ships parked in front of the part you see right now. It's a shame in one sense, because there's all, as you can see, there's all these beautiful roofs, similarly colored, and it's just such a beautiful city. It's packed in here. This part of the city is very dense. When you get here, you'll see some of the streets are very narrow, and buses can barely get their way through. Sometimes it's a marvel that they do it all, but it's definitely a place you want to put on your whatever list you call it. All right, here is that same central square from the land side. This is such an enjoyable place to be. It's an enormous open space where explorers left to go off and find what they thought was a new world. It was new to them anyway. And ever since then, more and more tourists have gathered to celebrate the, well, I'll call it uniting of the world, old and new. And today is a little special because the power is out. This is just what I've been told. There's probably much more information you'll have by the time you see this. There was some fire in France, and most of the Iberian Peninsula, most of Spain, and definitely right here in Lisbon, everyone's out of power. So, if nothing else, it means there are fewer people in the way as I film this. Things are still going on, but there's that Christ the Redeemer statue across the way. But the streetcars here, smaller and, to my mind, cuter than the ones in San Francisco, are out of whack because they run on electricity. And all the bars and restaurants, of course, that cater to these tourists run on electricity. And so it's kind of a scaled down day, but it's not all bad. Like I said, it's easier to move around in here because it can get quite crowded. This is a Monday, so some days are a lot more hectic than others. See if I can get down here to the water before I flip around. Yes, I can. And then you get right up here, you've got something approximating a boat launch and a spot where symbolically you head off from the old world of Europe to the new world of the Americas. I'm going to stop here because it's getting wet and slippery. But you get the idea. And the bridges way back on that side. The ports and cruise ships on that side. The square. So head back in the other direction from this side. And the popular fast beat music that it seemed to have replaced all the music that used to be here in this part of the world. Who would want to listen to like a symphony or some crap? Pardon my Portuguese. The central statue here, really impressive what people used to do with marble. Another example of the fine artwork of Europe. And symmetrical sides. Big, huge plaza. You could have all kinds of things here. There are restaurants and bars that line the periphery. I don't know if you could see. There's like one there, one there. There's several on that side. Most of them, though, right now are shut. And then, as you head in here, and see something like the scale. There's people there to give you some idea of the size. And then so we can walk right into this thing. What's interesting about it is it leads you right into the old town. There's lots of great food and drink here. It's a pretty peaceful country, given to great music and enjoying life. No longer the world dominator it once was. So it's an enjoyable place to come and stay. They don't get too high and mighty about being Portuguese, say the way the French or English might, or the Americans now do, and that kind of thing. So, see if you can go into town and see something, see how much business is going on. See, as you can see, there's still plenty of folks. We just don't have a lot of power right now. That won't matter as much for the next couple hours, but you really see the effects if they don't get the power back on soon. And I'm told that they're saying something like within 72 hours. That, of course, doesn't help us or most people because they'll be here just for a few days in most cases. So it's not exactly what you want to hear when you come here for a bless you. When you come here for a vacation, you're hoping for something a little more predictable, enjoyable, etc. So wander around and see if I can find if anybody else has got some artificially or otherwise generated power. One of the things you'll notice is the tiles. Really elaborate tiles here in Lisbon. This is kind of the sidewalk. The tiles in the center are much more pavement-like. Very small individual tiles, and then much more uniform ones on this larger scale. And just exhibiting the kind of handwork that most of these people used to do that we pretty much take for granted. Well, it looks as if some people have resourcefully found a way to serve their clients. I don't know, it's a place called Grilled and Company. I'm not sure they have what source of electricity they're using, but they've found ways to feed and drink, libate, I guess, all of these people. All right, let's see. People are pretty resourceful critters. You're going to see, in most cases, them find a way to do the things they need to do. Yep, lots of places going on here. How did that guy know us what I was thinking? Yep, everybody's still sitting up, doing the things they got to do. Here's a rather sad sight. So he set up a little bed for dogs to give them some money and some water and some food. Right here in this busy intersection where you have all of that. And then all of this. So lead us right back out to the entrance where we started. Well, if nothing else, it gives me a chance to film some of these street cars that can't go anywhere. There's a bit of a roadblock. A couple more up here that are also stuck in place. I think some of these people are going to think they're going to get someplace they can't. So here's, for some reason, I think the most iconic color, the yellow ones, though that matters really not at all. They are cute. As you can see, with several of them stuck in the same place, it is hard to get anything going. A few things will illustrate our mutual interdependence, like the power grid going out. There's this is something I learned during Katrina, that there's not a whole lot that you can do once the power grid goes down. You start learning what's most important, what people most need. Right now they're thinking basically that they need power, they need electricity, but eventually their phones like this one won't work because they won't be able to charge them. And the telecommunications go down. I was just trying to get something and nothing, there's no credit right now because no one can get the communications to work in order for the credit cards to function. So it's those are the first things to go, but eventually you'd notice water and food. Once those things start to go and you worry about basic resources, then you got worries, especially when you've got ever more people. So power grids, as most people know, really are becoming something that people are worried about, because if anyone messes with them, or they simply go out, as this one appears to because of a fire, it spells trouble for lots of people. So there are people doing stuff that you and I don't even think about, and turns out it really matters. So the cooperation stuff, the economics and politics and all that, for people to play around with that, they're playing with something that not only matters to us all, but is vital for human life at some point. So, well, let me shut up about that for a second and just go through this beautiful arch, get us back where we started. See all the baubles that people have for sale, and marvel at the wonders people have created by cooperating together. These fantastic edifices and monuments and ships and technologies. It's an amazing bunch of people, and we've learned to cooperate so well that we've gotten an enormous amount of stuff done. See, that bus got out of the way just in time. Fascinating. And we'll keep doing that. We'll keep improving and getting places long after I and all of these other people are gone. There'll be more folks here cooperating even more broadly, and again, probably without all the national differences, just as we don't have the differences of empire that we used to have. And those who think we're going to generate new empires are really sort of forgetting how important it is for us to do everything together. Competing is important for innovation, that kind of stuff, but it's really counterproductive when it comes to functioning well on the planet, especially in the long run. So here's a quick shot of a famous horses behind. Till next time. All right, most folks are familiar with the line, life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans. That's always true, but it's especially true in something like this where the contingencies mount. No one expects a fire in France to cause power outages for everyone here so that their vacation plans are changed or ruined or what have you. So it's a good thing to keep in mind that the best laid plans of mice and men, are going to go astray at some point, and that your plans, and I'll come back to this with Around the World in 80 Days, matter, but if they matter to you more than the thing that winds up happening, you could find yourself disappointed or extremely unhappy or something like that. So it's good to just be able to kind of roll with the punches, do whatever's necessary at the time. There's a cruise ship coming up here. The first one is not the one I'm headed to. It belongs to the same company, but it's a good reminder. When in Katrina, which I mentioned a little while ago, there were generators. So when the power went out, you could use gas to generate electricity. Just pour gasoline. As long as you had gasoline and didn't mind listening to a really loud, constant rattling, you could get through until you could get some more gas. And that might power your refrigerator or your air conditioner or fans or whatever it was you didn't have electricity for. These things are basically floating generators. In addition to being able to do lots of other stuff like desalinate water when they're out at sea, they can turn fuel into electricity powering that ship. So while everyone here on the coast of Portugal, in this case Lisbon, are suffering without all of those things, the folks who are lucky enough, unlucky enough, however you look at it, to be on one of those ships tonight has got all the amenities. There's really nothing that the people I've been hanging out with will go without tonight. However, they will miss out on all the goodies that they came here for. They didn't come to, some of them, didn't come to just sit on a ship. They came to visit places like Lisbon and experience all the things that this great country of Portugal has to offer. So yeah, in all cases, just make the best of a bad or a good situation. Take a sad song and make it better, all that stuff. All right, normally when you see videos, travel videos especially, it's pictures of what you're likely to see if you go to a particular place. Now the camera is doing a good job of providing a lot of light, but it's basically dark out here. The lights you see in the foreground are port lights, and then there are a couple places that have their own generators or whatever, but this ought to be really filled with light and activity. It's 10 something at night, and it's pretty dead. There's a few cars on the street, really not much happening. It is a Monday night, but there should be a lot more going on in Lisbon. So this is not what you should expect to find when you get here yourself. What I'm seeing on the screen and what I'm seeing off the screen is actually quite different. The light shows up on the sides of those buildings in the shot a lot more than it does here tonight. But yeah, I mean, it's that's part of it too. I mean, sometimes you travel and you see stuff that you would never see any other time. It's not as if the food on the menu is always exactly what you expect it will be. So hopefully when you come here, well, I'm sure when you come here, power will be restored. I just heard that about 750,000 people have gotten power back, and I can only assume that means a lot more will be in the next day or two. And this is supposed to affect some of France, a lot of Spain and Portugal. So, but when you come here, it'll be vibrant and whatnot. But this is just one of the things about traveling. You experience things that you didn't expect, and some folks are pretty good with rolling with the punches, and others are upset or put out or something or other. But that's how it goes. All right, what a difference a day makes. From the concern that all was lost, most of the region is starting to get power back. So this is just a cautionary tale, it turns out. But there's much lower tide this time of day, and the weather has turned cloudier, colder, but I guess the good thing is, like, a lot of times travel can seem like it's all concerned with doing new stuff and going new places and getting away from home and all that stuff, but there's a lot to be said for normalcy, because as soon as things go wrong, you can see that how much it matters that the simple stuff, really well, is necessary, for lack of a better word. But it's also comforting to know that those things that you want and need are around. And I guess that's kind of what signs like this are meant to be. There are those of us who are less than theistic, but in any case, there are we all seek salvation, even if it's in the form of the lights coming back on, the refrigerator working, the food being supplied, and all those goodies. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with just having all the basics in life and getting what you really need. But I think for me, it's time to leave here and head on up the coast. See you next time. All right, but I will say this before going up to Porto. I might have mentioned it before, but there's a great series on Netflix called Somebody Feed Phil. This is one of the places he goes to in the episode on Lisbon, and for good reason. Let me run through here real quick, see what I can find. because everybody's got to eat. You get in here, there's like three sides. Central area, largely devoted to shops, flowers, whatnot. Traditional market to your right, with all kinds of fruits and vegetables. Plenty of them. Rows and rows of this stuff. A whole section up top for, it's like a huge nursery. Give you the idea anyway. And then back through here is the third bit that handles the restaurant-y kind of stuff, food that's already prepared and ready to go. Yeah, see, he was trying to make that point. He thought I was going to miss that. And you got the pastries that the area is famous for, and tons of places to eat. That guy's still worried that I'm going to miss it. Just loaded. Timeout Market. Lisbon. Donuts. All kinds of Mediterranean stuff. Olives, burgers, you name it. This place has got it. Those things. Tons and tons of sardines, cod, anchovies, mackerel. This place is just tons of stuff to eat. And before we stop, I'm going to run over and grab a bottle of vino. See ya.